Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Adrian McBride, and I'm here with Elizabeth Allen, who is a librarian at the Martin Luther King Jr. Branch Library. If you don't know where that library is, it's the big, tall building library that's on the corner of the San Jose University campus. And what she'll be going over today for you are electronic resources that we have for middle school students. Before we get started, we do have a short poll that the Silicon Valley Education Foundation would like us to give to you. So we're going to put the poll up for about 30-45 seconds. Go ahead and answer the question, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And again, I apologize for the technical issues with the webinar to begin with. So hopefully we get some more people logging on as it goes, because my understanding is we had to restart it and then it kicked everybody out of the waiting room. So, so first off, thanks again for coming. We are here as part of College Week with the Silicon Valley Education Foundation and the Santa Clara County Office of Education. And I'm going to pass it over to Elizabeth to go over her presentation. And there is a QA section at the bottom. So if you have any questions, you can just post them in that QA rather than the chat. All right, thanks. Go ahead.
All right. So thank you so much, Adrian. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I saw that we have parent in the room and also somebody else. So I just want to sort of talk about what we're going to be going over today, which is to say library resources for students who are in middle school or the people who are helping them. So if you are looking for resources for a middle school student, this is definitely the place to be. If you have a student who is either younger or older, and this was just the time that worked out for you, feel free to pop in with questions that are appropriate for your student's age. I'm happy to answer questions for resources for kids who are both younger and older. A lot of the resources do overlap a great deal, but some of them are more targeted towards a specific age range. So I can talk about resources for older, younger students. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. And before we start talking about what the library has, you have to know how to get access to the library. And that requires that you have a library card. Now, the library card is completely free, and all of our resources are also completely free. So it is all free to you as the user. We're tax funded. We're here to serve the members of the San Jose community, and anything that we're offering through the library is not going to be available with a charge or anything like that. If you're interested in getting a library card and you don't already have one, here's the link to do it. It's sjpl.org/membership. I'm just going to go into that page a little bit because since we had to close, signing up for cards has changed just a little bit. So currently we have a couple of different types of cards. One is this e-library card, and this is the fastest and easiest thing to get. It's available to you right away. You go online, you fill out a simple little form, and as soon as you click submit on the form, you get your e-library card number. You'll also get a follow-up email that has some more details, but this is absolutely the easiest way to get your library card. And if you are an adult, you can actually convert this e-library card into a temporary card. So that it means that you do have access to some of the physical resources. Our e-library card is just electronic resources, but as I'm going to be showing you today, we have a ton of online resources, electronic resources for both like recreation, pleasure reading, your personal interests, as well as schoolwork. So we do have a great deal of online resources, but if you're interested, you can convert that electronic library card, the e-library card, into a temporary card. And that will let you request and pick up physical items at any one of our 24 branches. The only branch that's not currently open for curbside pickup of of in of materials is the Mount Pleasant branch. All the other branches are open for pickup from the curbside. And finally, we have our full access card. When we're open back up to the public, this is when we're going to start issuing these full access cards. But right now, we've got this e-library card and then the step up, the temporary library card that's available to adults who are over 18. So once you have your library card in hand, you're able to access anything. But if you have any questions, I've put in a couple of links here, and in the follow-up to this, Adrian is going to send out a quick 2-page brief summary of all of the resources that I've gone over here. And so to go with the library card and your newfound interest or access of these things, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. So we have just a general contact page that shows all the ways to contact us, as well as I've highlighted here, chat with the librarian. This is available during certain hours that the library is open, and it is staffed by librarians from around the system, and they are ready, willing, and very able to answer any questions that you might have about your account, about certain resources, about another resource that you found that I didn't even cover, didn't have time to. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We're always happy to help. We're in the business of helping people, so we love it. So once you've got your library card, as I mentioned, express pickup is available at 24 of our 25 branches, only excluding the Mount Pleasant neighborhood branch. And that lets you place holds on items. And when you get an email, it will tell you that it's ready to be picked up. And you can just go down to your local library branch and pick that up. So this is a really great, convenient resource, especially if you're tired of screens and you want to get back to the printed word. This is definitely something to take advantage of, the express pickup if you're in the San Jose area. Finally, I wanted to mention a couple of resources on our website before we go into the different sorts of electronic resources that we subscribe to, that we pay for access to. So one of the resources on our website is our events page. So I'm just going to go ahead and click there. When we shut down for public access to the buildings, we were able to take a lot of our programs virtual. So if you go in here to see all the events and you click here for online events, this will show you all of the events that are available, that are happening online. You can see there's a great number in progress right now, and there's more to come. So we have taken, there are some programs that are very difficult to do online, but we've done story times, music and movement. We've got everything from book clubs to yoga, coding classes to science field trips. So we've got all sorts of great events available online, and I definitely encourage folks to take a look at that. You can filter over here by different programs, the dates, and even ages. So if you're looking for programs for teenagers, if you're looking for programs for younger children or for adults and seniors, you can find the programs that you're looking for available online there. So I just wanted to show you those. And the final thing I'm going to show you is something that I call sort of the find your next read. If you're like me, one of the things that you're really missing from being able to go into the library is being able to walk into that library and talk to your library staff member and find out about new books, browse that new books rack, get recommendations from the staff who work in the library. So this is something that I'm pointing people to, especially now that we're not open to the public, and that's this Books and More. So this is available right here from Books and eLibrary, right here on the home page. And then if you just click on Books and More, and the reason I tell you to look at this whole section is because there's a lot of stuff here. So there's new titles, things that we've just added to our collection. There's staff picks. So these are staff recommendation lists, and these are done by grade level up through 7th grade. And then there's also thematic teen recommendations as well. Younger kids, adult recommendations as well. So there's a lot of great staff recommendations. We also have lists of bestsellers, lists of award winners. If you can't find what you want, we have a suggestion form, find items at other libraries. We do now have the Link Plus system now newly available. It's been available since the 1st of September, so we can get books from neighboring library systems again. And then finally, personal reading recommendations. So if you were just all out of stuff to read and you need that contact with a staff member who can sort of listen to what you like and then recommend some reading for you, definitely I would recommend this. This is 5 for You. It has the opportunity to fill out a little form telling sort of what you're interested in, and then once they know your interest, they'll get back to you in about a week with recommendations for 5 new titles that you might not have seen before. So it's a great service if, like me, you're an avid reader and you're always on the lookout for what to read next. So that's just a little bit of what I wanted to show you about our services that are sort of available online during the time that we're closed to the public physically. We're still offering a ton of services available online and pickup services available at our branches. But in terms of resources that are only online, let's go ahead and start talking about that. So electronic resources is kind of library terminology. It's library language for anything that we pay for access to in the same way that we buy books and we buy DVDs and books on tape and encyclopedias and magazines, except that we're buying it in electronic form, again, to share out among the public. And it can be anything from books and audiobooks and movies and music to article databases. So databases where you can search and find articles that have been published in newspapers and magazines, scientific journals, and more encyclopedias, other reference works that are all about nonfiction topics and be able to do research, be able to find out information about something that you're interested in or something that you're doing for school. These e-resources, electronic resources, you'll sometimes see them called e-resources, sort of abbreviated, even e-media, so media like books and magazines and movies and music, but electronic. And one of the great things about them is that they are available 24/7. So, when our doors were closed to the public back on March 17th, immediately, we started promoting our electronic resources, because even while we were closed to the public, trying to figure out a way to provide services safely to the San Jose community, we were pushing our online resources because those were still available. Those were still open to anybody to use 24 hours a day, even if the library is closed. And one of the things that I love about them, especially about the books and things like that, is that if you check it out, it returns automatically. So you don't have to worry about picking it up from the library or getting it back from the library. So it's extremely convenient. Now, this link right here, sjpl.org/e-resources, this takes you to the list of every single e-resource that we have, every single electronic book subscription, magazine subscription, database of information. Everything is listed here on this e-resources page. I'm going to show you some pages that have some more curated or narrowed down lists so that you can see more focused lists of our e-resources. San Jose is a big library system, and we're able to purchase a wide variety of electronic resources for the use of our patrons. And so we do have quite a long list. So if you come and look at this e-resources page, it may be a little bit overwhelming. So that's why I'm going to show you some pages that have a more curated or pared down list of resources, of some of our e-resources that you might want to take a look at. So like I was mentioning, we've got things like books and audiobooks. We've got the nonfiction sources online, so the article databases, encyclopedias, and so on and so forth that you can use. And then we have what I would consider to be services. I'm going to mention this Tutorcom service a little bit later, sort of towards the end of the presentation. Other services include things like lynda.com, which has a huge variety of business and technology video classes available online, or Mango Languages, which is all about language learning online. So these aren't databases where you would look something up and get some information. These are actually courses or tutorials that you can follow along. You can subscribe to courses and so on and so forth. So it's really great, these resources that are available that aren't just databases and online media, but actually go a step further and have some class education tutorial. So one of the reasons, like I was saying, to use them is that they're available anytime, any grade, and they're also available on a wide variety of sort of technology. So one of the key things is, of course, you will need to have an internet connection. Unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. It sounds, the folks who were able to join us today obviously have a step up. You guys already have an internet connection and a device to view it on. If you have a phone or a tablet or a computer, usually all you need is that internet connection and an internet browser. But some of them also have apps available. So some of these electronic resources will have an app where you can download and read offline. If you are having trouble getting access to the internet, if you are, dialing in now, but you don't usually have access to the internet, maybe you're taking advantage of public Wi-Fi, or at home you're experiencing connectivity issues and don't have access, one of the things that I will mention is that here on our homepage, you can come back to the homepage and we do have wireless hotspots available to check out. This is a program called SJ Access. And one of the great things about these wireless hotspots is that they are really high speed hotspots. They allow up to 15 connections. And even if you're doing something intensive like streaming, so streaming video like we're doing right now, or music or movies, things like that, you can still have up to 5 or to 7 things connected and streaming at once without slowing it down. So these are very impressive hotspots. They're really nice, and they're completely paid for in terms of the internet service. So if you're struggling with having so many people connected at home, definitely check this out. These Wi-Fi hotspots are available at all the branches that have express pickup. There's some information on here about how to get them, how to set them up. And then once you've decided whether or not you want to check out, you can go here to Wi-Fi hotspots for library members. And it tells you here a list of the branches that have those Wi-Fi hotspots, and also a phone number so that you can call the branch and make an appointment, see if they have one available, and come in and pick it up if they do. So that's our hotspots, and those are a great resource if you are having those connectivity issues. Keep your eyes peeled. We're also we've had a device pilot checkout program. We're going to be having some more things. So one of the things about the library now is that we're trying to make more and more technology and access available to folks, because we know that that's often an issue. So talking about electronic media first. Now, these are your more traditional types of things that you might find in the library, things like eBooks, e-audiobooks, so electronic spoken word audiobooks, magazines, movies, things like that. And one of the most popular resources is Overdrive, or you'll sometimes see it called Libby. They're the same thing. Overdrive is actually the service. They're the name of the company. Libby is what they've called the app. So the app is called Libby, and that's used to access the Overdrive service. So one of the cool things about Overdrive, and the reason I always like to mention it, is because if you're looking for books that are aimed at a certain age level or have a certain reading level, it's really easy to search them up and find them with Overdrive. So let me just show you how you do that. So let's take a look here. I'm going to go back to the home page, and it's going to be here under books and e-library, same as before, but we're going to go down here to eBooks, because Libby or Overdrive is primarily an ebook service. So you'll see there's also e-audiobooks, e-movies, e-music. Any of these links that you click on will show you the services that we have that offer this. So I'm going to click on eBooks, and you'll see that we have a bunch of different types of ebook services. Why do we have so many different types of ebook services? Well, it's because each ebook service that we subscribe to has different types or collections of books. So for example, up here at the top, we subscribe to a service that's nothing but business plans. So if you're thinking about going into business for yourself as an entrepreneur, this is a book, an ebook resource that's all business plans. There's also down here Safari Books Online, and this is all about ebooks and videos on technology and programming. So some of these services are very specialized. Overdrive has a lot of the bestsellers, adult fiction, and popular nonfiction. It doesn't have a lot of reference works, like school books or things like that, but it does have a wide variety of fiction and nonfiction books for all ages. I'm going to show you that real quick. I'm just going to click on Overdrive right here. One of the great things about Overdrive is that you don't have to make an account to use it. You just sign in using your library card and PIN number. Now you'll see that it took me right to the San Jose Library one because I clicked through from our website. Now, if you download the app Libby and you get started with that, it will actually ask you what library system. And then once you tell it, I'm with the San Jose Public Library, it'll ask you for your library card and your PIN number, and you'll be good to go. Now, if you've forgotten your PIN number for the library, or if you've misplaced your library card, let's go back a couple of slides. Remember that contact us where I was telling you about library chat. That is a great way to get in with the library and actually ask them to look up your account number, reset your PIN, things like that. Now, it took me straight into the kids section because that's where I was the last time I was here. The first time you come on, it's going to have you here on the main collection. And you can see there's some reading lists and things like that. But up here at the top, you can browse by subjects and collections. Also, a couple of age ranges, kids and teens, and then even Spanish language books if you're interested. I'm going to click here on teens. And one of the great things is that once you've gone to this section, when you do a search, it'll be sort of filtered by specifically teen books. So again, they've got some reading lists here in the teen section, but if you're interested in searching, you can actually search. Just going to search for a book here. So when you do a search for a book, it will tell you the results here, and it will have like a wait list or available at the top. If you go into it, you can place a hold. It'll even tell you how long you'll have to wait for the hold. And even if it's checked out, you can still read a sample. So that's definitely a plus from browsing through books at the library. If they're checked out, you can't still pull them off the shelf and read a sample to know if you want to get in line for it. So that's definitely something that's great about eBooks. They keep the sample on hand so you can read it and know whether you do want to place that hold or not. You'll see here's your subjects. So you've got the young adult fiction, fantasy, and thriller. Over here, you'll see levels. And so this tells you the text difficulty, interest level, ATOS level. So if you're searching for books that are at a specific reading level, this is a really great way to do it. Overdrive has really controls to let you do that. And they're here under the advanced section. So under the advanced section, you can actually do a more targeted search and look at things that are of interest level. So middle grades or upper grades, Lexile, ATOS, or even text level difficulties in order to find books that are at the right reading level for the kid that you're working with. So that's Overdrive. Overdrive will let you check out 10 books at a time. If you have checked out 10 books, you can actually return a book in order to be able to check out more books. So that's one of the great things about Overdrive. You can actually check something in order to check it out again. And you get it for 3 weeks. Overdrive is probably the broadest and most widely available app. So no matter the device you have, chances are you'll be able to get an Overdrive book on it. So with other types of ebook resources, the different things will be available. So Overdrive, we actually select the titles that are available in it. Other ebook services, we just get a collection of books and kind of don't get to pick and choose. But I just wanted to mention a couple more of those ebook resources, things that you might be interested in. So Hoopla is a great service. This is something that I like to refer to as kind of like Netflix for books. So you saw when we did the search in Overdrive that the Six of Crows book that we were interested in was actually checked out, which was a big bummer. So we would have to get in line for it. Hoopla items are never checked out. So that's one of the fantastic things about Hoopla. Everything is always available. Now, there is the fact that on the flip side, Hoopla limits you to 10 checkouts, not at a time, but per month. So you want to make sure that you make those Hoopla checkouts matter. Now, Overdrive, like I said, every service that we subscribe to has different sort of benefits. So Overdrive has books and ebooks and it has ebooks and e-audiobooks and magazines as well. Whereas Hoopla has not only ebooks and e-audiobooks, it has a number of graphic novels, movies, music, and television shows. So you get more different kinds of media through Hoopla. And Hoopla is a really fantastic resource. Other ones include Mac and Via. Now, this is a great resource for nonfiction books. So again, if you want to check out a nonfiction book, Mac and Via is a great one to do. And Mac and Via will let you choose reading level, search by reading level as well. And this has a lot less limitations than something like Overdrive does. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, here's more, Access 360, Cloud Library, EBSCO eBooks, there's a lot of services, how do I have to go search all of them individually? Well, no, you absolutely do not. So although I showed you how you could go directly to Overdrive and search for a book just in Overdrive, actually, all of these books will show up just in our catalog, same way a physical book will. So I'm going to search for that Six of Crows again. So I'm just searching the catalog just by keyword, and it will show you here it's available as a book, it's available as an audiobook CD, it's available as an ebook, and in fact, it has a couple of ebook listings. So if you're interested, you can actually go in and see where it's available from, which services it's available from. So you don't have to go into Overdrive and search, and then Access 360 and do a search, and Mac and Via and do a search. You don't have to go into all of those different services and do searches over and over again. All of the ebooks show up in the catalog with one exception, and that is Hoopla. Hoopla is self-contained, so you do have to go into the Hoopla app to search for something in Hoopla. Everything else will show up right here in our catalog. So you can see I've got the ebook highlighted, and it tells me that it's available from Overdrive, what format it's available from, how many copies we have in Overdrive, 20 copies, how many people are on the wait list, 32. So it gives me all that information that was from Overdrive, and it's right there in the catalog. So one of the best places to start in looking for electronic resources is actually our plain catalog, and you can actually filter this. So if you're not interested in seeing book resources, you can click and see only ebook resources. But if it's available in several different ebook vendors, you'll be able to see all of those different options in order to download it, because sometimes it's checked out in one of our ebooks and not in the other. So definitely poke around and see where it's available. So that's ebooks or e-media in general. And I just wanted to go over that real briefly, because one of the things when thinking about school success that really affects and impacts it is the level of reading that we do. Now, you might think I'm biased. Obviously, I'm a librarian. I want to encourage reading. I want to encourage a culture of readers. But this really has been shown to be one of the things that is very important for kids, is that love of reading, being able and having access to literature that's interesting to them. It improves their reading skills. It improves their writing skills. Even if they're not writing, they're reading. And so they're picking up things about writing. It's also just innate to us to love stories and to want to enjoy them. So I always like to lead off with the books. Now let's talk about some of those resources that you can do in order to do research for schoolwork, which is kind of what we think about a lot of times when we think about the library and school. We're thinking about those research projects, those things that are due in school. I have to know about this scientific topic, or I have to write a paper on this historical figure. And in middle school is the time when we really start to see the teachers emphasize being able to cite your sources, being able to show that you were able to go and do research and then cite where you found that information, as a way of showing your information literacy, to show that you know where this information came from and who published it. So one of the top resources and sort of general resources that I'm going to talk about is Explora for middle school. So Explora is a general subject. So it goes over sciences, humanities, all of the topics, and it covers all of them. And it has articles from newspapers, magazines, scientific journals, reference works, and even primary sources. Also, they're starting to add an increasing amount of media. So you'll sometimes see videos and pictures and things like that as well, in addition to the photographs that you'll sometimes see in the articles. So Explore is a really good place to start if your child has been tasked with doing a research project. How do you get going on it? Well, Explore is a good place to start. It's a good kicking off point. So I'm going to show you, and this page that I'm going to take you to has a lot of those resources that are all about school success. So let's go here. I'm just going to go back to the home page. And this time, instead of going to books, I'm actually going to come over here to children and teens. So I could show you just the e-resources page, which like I said, has every e-resource, but there's a lot of different stuff on there. So what I like to encourage people to do, especially if you're helping elementary or middle school, high school kids do schoolwork, is to look at the online homework help that's available right here. So I'm going to take a look at the preteens and teens. It's actually the same link for the kids as well. Like I said, there's a lot of overlap. If you see anything interesting here, feel free to ask about it. I'm going to highlight a couple of resources, but I'm always happy to talk about anything basically that's available on this page. So when you come to this online homework help page, you'll see that it's divided up into sections. So articles has sort of your newspaper and magazine articles in here, mostly newspaper. Then we've got a college and career section, which has some really useful tools, especially as you get out of middle school and go into those high school years, those test prep years, building your resume for applications to college or university if you're considering doing that, or exploring your career options if your kid is interested in learning about a trade or other types of business. We've got some general reference resources, which I'm going to come back to. Here's that Explorer for middle school students. There's also history and biography, language learning, like I mentioned earlier, reading and literature, science, social studies, and test prep and online learning. So there's a variety of different types of resources here, and this may seem like a lot, but this is only a small portion of our total resources. So it's a really nice sort of curated list of things that are very useful for schoolwork. So let's go ahead and take a look at Explora. One of the things that I really like to mention about Explora is, like I said, because of the increasing emphasis in middle school and going on to the high school, building that ability to do research and to report on the subject, the topics of their research, and to be able to show where they got their information. The Explorer database is exceptionally useful for that because it really highlights where all of this information came from. So if they're going to do a subject based search, so I'm going to take a look at earthquake proof building. So I'm just doing a keyword search here, and you can see the total results that I have up here at the top. I can come back and refine my search, but I'm just going to take a look, sort of scroll down here. We've got sort of built to last. So this is from an actual ebook. We've got things from Discover magazine. We've got something from US News and World Reports. And so it really shows you that citation, sort of highlights it there. By default, anytime that you do a search in Explora, it shows you only full text. It does have more resources in here. If I uncheck full text, it's going to update, and instead of 21, it's going to give me 23. So Explora does have some resources in here that it doesn't have the right to show you the full text of the article, but it does have the ability to point you in the right direction to find that article. I always like to go for full text first, see what they've actually got the full text of, and then if I need more resources, I can go further. You can also limit the publication date. So for example, if you're only interested in relatively recent things about earthquake-proof engineering or earthquake-proof building, I can bring it up, slide it up, and say, I'm only interested in things from like the last 15 years, so since 2005. And that is immediately reflected in the search results here. You can also filter down by Lexile or reading level. You can also filter by the topic it came from. And one of the really cool things about this is if you look up here at the top, it shows you search history. So if I go and do another search, so I'm going to do a related search, earthquake preparedness. Well, I selected the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. All right, so that gets me 74 search results. And in fact, it's got like a sort of a topic overview that's from an encyclopedia of science. So that's really interesting. If they have a topic overview, there will be a little light bulb up here. And then it has some more things. So you can see here, they've got some video results. They've got some other articles and so on and so forth. So if I go here to search history, now I can look at all of the different searches that I've done. So you can see first that I did earthquake proof building, and then I limited it to full text, and then I limited it to publish date, and then I did a search on earthquake preparedness. So you can go back and view the results from any one of these searches. You can revise the search and rerun it. And so on. So this is building up to the ability to do that really complex, detailed research that they'll be moving into in high school and especially in college, building the skills of being able to do a search, look at the results, refine your results, come back in, expand out to related terms and all of that good stuff. Those are really important research skills, and Explore is a great way to help them build that. Once you've done a search, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to take a look at our Earth in Motion here. I'm going to look at the full text here. So over here, you can add it to a folder. So this will let you actually, you can sign in here, create an account for yourself. You can add things to folders. You can email them or save them for later. This citation will let you download a citation in a variety of different formats for the citation. You can export, you can even get a link so that you can make a link and come back to it later. So again, there's lots and lots of tools in order to enable those increasingly deeper dives that they're going to do into doing research. So Explore is great because at the very basic, it starts off as a sort of a general thing. You can sort of poke around into it, but it really does have those tools that you can use later. So one of the next series that I like to highlight, especially for middle school students, is something called Gale's In Context series. And that sounds a little weird. It is a series of 5 related databases, and they're all about providing a little bit of context to some of those search results, sort of giving you a way into different topics, different areas of interest. So you'll be able to tell them because they'll all say in context. So biography in context, history, US history in context, world history in context. And then down here under social science, there's global issues in context and opposing viewpoints in context. So again, something that you start to see increasingly in the middle school years and going on again into the high school years and into the college years is an emphasis on being able to do different types of writing, including persuasive writing, so making an argument. So a very common topic is to take and examine both sides of a topic and be able to run down and explain both sides of a particular topic or conflict. So this is where opposing viewpoints is an absolutely fantastic resource. And all these other ones, so the global issues in context has a lot of things that are, I would say, current events interest. So this includes a lot of country deep dives, as well as things that are impacting us on a global scale. So you can do a search up here at the top. You can also just browse issues down here. One of the things that I like, it shows you up here on the front page, the stuff that's been recently updated. So for example, viral disease, their article on viral disease has been recently updated. Anybody can guess the context for why they've recently updated their article on the US Centers for Disease Control or viral disease. If we go into something like viral disease, it will have an overview. Now this is really great. Explorer will sometimes highlight something as an overview if it has that resource in the database. This will have a great overview article. And in fact, it's very in-depth and highlights a lot of great stuff, and it is citable on its own. So if there is something in this introductory article, so specifically about COVID-19, for example, it will actually flag that up and you can highlight and include that citation right in your paper article. Then it comes down here to all of the information that's contained in the database. So there's viewpoints articles, which are sort of opinion articles, featured content, so that's things that's been flagged as particularly good or noteworthy, reference articles, so these typically are from reference books like encyclopedias or handbooks on particular things, biographies, in this case of notable figures in the world of viral diseases, pictures, videos, statistics, audio, magazine articles, news articles, academic journals, and websites. So they've got a wide variety of different resources that they pull from, and then they collate it all in that overview article there. And that gives you an introduction, and then you can go and explore into that deep dive. So one of the things here, if you're doing this, I'm going to search for disaster. And you can see the ones that they have here up at the top that are bold are their sort of context articles. So that's where you get the overview and then you get everything divided up. If I search for disasters and I just do disaster victims, for example, it will still give me all of the articles, but it won't have that overview article. So it'll still give me articles on that topic, but it won't have them all neatly collated into that overview article that gives you sort of the introduction to the topic as a whole. So this Gale in Context series is a really powerful tool. And again, just something that they can grow with as they explore and do more in-depth research. So the final thing that I wanted to mention in terms of other types of online resources is Tutor.com. Tutor.com is a fantastic resource, especially now when we're doing a lot of the schooling online. It's very easy to sort of get behind if you have connectivity issues, or if your teacher has connectivity issues, or if there's problems in the class, things like that. It can be really, really difficult. And it's even easier to slip behind than it is during a normal academic year when we're all present in school. So one of the things that I'm highlighting, especially now, is Tutor.com. This is a fantastic service that we subscribe to. It's absolutely free to you. You get 10 sessions a week, and those sessions can be up to an hour long with an individual tutor. And those tutors have been vetted completely. So they've had their background checked. They're either graduate students, teachers, retired teachers, other professionals who do tutoring as their business. And again, like I said, background checked. They're available from 2 p.m. until midnight, 7 days a week. There's more limited hours in other languages. So for example, if you would like to have service in Spanish or Vietnamese, you can actually have a language specific tutor. They also have other resources that are just sort of available, like it says here, practice cards, practice quizzes, flashcards, and so on. These are also available, and they're actually available all the time, just like most of our electronic resources. But Tutor.com, the real strength is in these individual live tutoring sessions. If you find a tutor that your kid works with particularly well, you can actually put them in a favorites list and request them over and over again. In previous jobs, I've had a girl who was in high school tell me she never would have passed trigonometry, except that she had a tutor who she worked with on Tutor.com two evenings a week for an hour each time. And that was what got her through trigonometry. She just wasn't making the click in lessons, and through reading the material on her own, having somebody else to sort of explain it in a different way and work through her problem sets with her was what helped her to pass that class and move on. So Tutor.com is a really fantastic resource. It's available for kids from kindergarten age all the way up through the first couple of levels of college. So sort of your introductory college classes, not when you get into the specialties, that's a little bit too much for them, but through those introductory classes or the first couple of years if you're doing community college, things like that. So it'll definitely take you all the way through high school. Speaking of that, you can also get them to help you with your high school writing or your college applications. So in addition to having live sessions, they also offer you the ability to drop off writing with them electronically 24 hours before you have an appointment scheduled. And that will let the tutor come in, and having had a look at your writing, been able to review it, they'll be able to go over their notes with you. So again, this is a fantastic resource. It's like having a dedicated tutor just for you. Like I said, during the pandemic times, you get 10 sessions a week. We kind of upped our subscription because we knew a lot of people would be looking for more academic support. But even during normal times, you get 7 sessions a week, which is really a lot of value for no money, of course. This is something that we subscribe to that's free to you to use. I'm going to take a look at a practice session just so that you can see what it looks like. We're going to come in here, and I'm not going to share my audio. So they do have audio chat, or you can chat here in the chat window. You cannot do video. They don't do video. And then over here is the workspace. And what you'll notice is that there's a whole bunch of different types of workspace. There's a whiteboard, there's a text editor, which is kind of like editing with them in Google Docs or something like that. A few simple formatting tools, but the focus is really on the text, not on the formatting or anything like that. There's also a code editor. So they do have people who can help in all sorts of subjects, including coding. So, you can change up a couple of different languages here, but really, you can also, if the language isn't supported, if they have a tutor who can do it, you could use just the text editor for that. They also have a graphing calculator if you have math questions, and so on and so forth. So Tutor.com is a really fantastic sort of resource that's available for anybody who is looking to have a little bit more help with a particular topic. They're just not quite clicking with the teacher on the topic, or just need a little bit more practice, somebody to help them look over exercises or anything like that. So like I said, there's a lot of resources here. I've highlighted a couple of the ones that I particularly love for middle school students, but as you can see, there's just tons and tons out there. In the follow-up email Adrian's going to send you, we do have like a sort of a list of all of the different resources that we've gone over, including these ones here, like online encyclopedias in English and Spanish, Learning Express Middle School, which is tests and tutorials for subjects, and so on. And then the final thing that I wanted to mention, especially for parents, right now we are helping our kids learn more than ever. And so one of the things I like to mention is Scholastic Teachables. That's also linked off of that resource page, that online homework help page. And this is something that is available. It has resources for kindergarten through 8th grade. And these include worksheets, writing prompts, social studies packets, science experiments, and all sorts of things. So all of the sorts of things that help you to build out and practice skills, sort of supplement lessons and things like that. The Scholastic Teachables is available. It is a lot of printing, so it is difficult if you don't have a printer at home, but you can also use these in PDF form. You can just download them instead of printing them out. So that is all I have. I know I went kind of a little bit fast. I do apologize for that. I always want to talk about absolutely every resource that we have. Is there any questions? I wasn't seeing anything in the chat or in question and answer, but I'm happy to take questions about anything.
Great. Thank you, Elizabeth. Since there's no questions, I want to thank you all for attending the webinar. We'll be here for the next 5 minutes or so you can still ask questions if you hang around, that sort of thing. Before you go, there is one more poll that we would like you to complete. I'm going to pop it up here and launch it. And there are, I think, 3 questions on this poll. So if you can go ahead and just answer those 3 questions for us, we appreciate it. And then while you all are doing this, of course, you can ask any questions that you have of Elizabeth.
I am also going to drop my email address into the chat box. We're a pretty small crowd here, so feel free if you have any questions, or if you're going over the follow-up that Adrian sends you later, the sort of the 2-page cheat sheet of what we went over today, and you have more questions that occur to you, feel free to drop me a line. I'm always happy to answer anything that I can, or if I don't know the answer, to point you to somebody who will know the answer.
And then I'll just do the same. So just in case you all have any questions, you can email me at adrian.mcbride@sjlibrary.org. And as Elizabeth mentioned, she was nice enough to put together a quick little 2-pager. So we will follow up with you with a copy of that 2-pager. So you have it. Like she mentioned, there are a number of resources available through the library. So this is going to be a nice little tool to help organize that. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And then since we're still not seeing any questions, I want to thank you all for attending, and y'all have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm just gonna take some. All right, great. Thanks, Elizabeth. I just needed to take some screenshots quickly.
Yep.
You have a good one. Thanks again for all your help.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.